Hi, everyone. It's Carrie.
I'm Cindy. Welcome to C&C Insights with Cindy and Carrie.
Welcome to Carrie On Accessibility.
Welcome back to Seeing Blind.
And that encourages more people to join them in advocating for accessibility.
Find that voice. Get your big boy, big girl pants on and advocate and really model that too for the youth.
It's really about having that conversation.
What is the etiquette for that? All right, Carrie, you ready?
Ready or not, let's do it.
Hey, welcome to C&C Insights with Cindy and Carrie. I'm Cindy. I've noticed Seeing Blind on social media channels. We're going to share a little bit about us since we're new here on Blind Abilities. So I'm going to go ahead, throw it to Carrie, let her introduce a little bit about herself, and we're going to talk today about what gets us excited. There's so much new stuff going on, and we can't wait to share our thoughts, opinions, insights to you guys today. So Carrie, why don't you tell everybody, where can we find you? What's going on with you these days?
Thanks, Cindy. Hi, everyone. It's Carrie, and I'm known as Carrie On Accessibility on YouTube and all the other social media channels. And most of the time, I talk about tech and accessibility, which all of it really excites me. So, yeah.
We're both active on all these platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can find us on your platform of choice, but we are so honored that Jeff has invited us to do these C&C Insight segments on Blind Abilities. So I hope you guys buckle up, grab a snack, enjoy the ride, because we're going to talk about some exciting things. So let's go ahead and talk about what's been exciting us in our own social media journey and developments, just so that people can kind of get to know what they can get from us on our social media platforms. And then we're going to go into some really interesting things as far as tech apps and organizations. We got a little bit of everything that's been exciting us lately that we're going to talk about. So what's been going on with you, Carrie, on your Carrie On Accessibility platforms here lately that's gotten you excited?
I tell you, Cindy, I feel like it just started. 2023 just started, and it's already June.
I know.
And there has been so much going on this year, especially in tech, right? And we'll definitely dive deeper into that in a little bit. But for me, there just has been so much technology that has come out with AI, with a lot of new blindness products. And I especially really feel this push for accessibility in the general community and for everybody. And a lot of companies, a lot of organizations are really pushing for that. And I just feel a lot more advocacy is going on, which is definitely something that I want to see more of.
Yes. And I know that's one thing that you and I talk a lot about in our content is sharing a lot of these new products that are coming out, tips and hacks. That's one thing I love to share, tips and hacks. But here lately, I have really enjoyed finding new products in the retail sector that maybe isn't marketed towards the disabled community or specifically the blind community, but it really does make life easier when you're disabled or when you're blind, and no one even thinks to market it for people with low vision. But I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes a difference in my life. Like, why isn't every blind person using this? And I've really enjoyed sharing that kind of stuff. You know, I've kind of been slowing. I don't know about you. You are like going full speed ahead. You're pumping out content left and right. And I've slowed down just a little bit because, you know, we're both so passionate about accessibility, but it takes quite a bit of research and lots of time invested just staying in the know, keeping up with all these new developments and all the new stuff coming out every day, every month. And because of that, I get so excited about it all that I'm like, okay, I have got to record a video here pretty soon or everybody's just going to think I fell off the planet. That's a little bit of all the cool stuff that you can find on our channels if y'all ever want to dive in deeper. But let's talk about in the disabled or specifically maybe blind, low vision communities, as far as new organizations or established organizations. Let's talk about what are some of the things that we're seeing within the culture, within our society, country, around the world. What is going on that's exciting us today? What do you think, Carrie? Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, there's been a lot more inclusion, I feel, in the media space, in fashion. I've
Hmm.
seen a lot more inclusion and diversity in models and in TV shows like C from Apple TV,
Hmm.
which I actually didn't watch because I don't really watch much TV, but I've heard a lot of people really enjoy it.
Oh, I watched every season, every episode. I really enjoyed C. I did. And I watched In the Dark as well. That was another show that I
Mm.
really enjoyed that kind of featured the main character was blind. So yeah, media is kind of starting to, pick up on representing blindness in media. I agree with that.
Yes. And I get some emails asking for somebody that I know that's blind or visually impaired and is an actor, an actress to play like parts in maybe it's not huge productions, but they're out there and I see
Yes.
them on Facebook and I see them all over the place.
Yeah, I think Jeff, even on Blind Abilities, he is cranking out great Facebook posts here lately. I actually saw one is specifically about that, saying, "Hey, this talent agency is looking for a lead role representing the blind community," and some blah blah blah. And I'm like, man, if I was an actress, I'd jump all over that. But yeah, there's definitely some really neat movements going on in the media, and I think you're right. The fashion, they're really starting to highlight adaptive wear, different garments that are disability friendly, they're inclusive, they have certain aspects to the design that improves people's comfort level and ability to get dressed independently. And I really also like that I've seen a lot of mixed, kind of controversial type of opinions on this, especially on TikTok. You see a lot of companies also starting in their advertising, starting to represent the disabled community. I'm welcoming it. I'm like, sure, yeah. I mean, gosh, why not? I don't know what the controversy is about it, but yeah, it seems
It should not be a controversy. I don't
no.
understand.
I know, yeah, no, I know. I saw several TikToks about it, and I'm like, why are y'all making a big deal about that? Come on now.
But it's social media, right? So there's always going to
Exactly.
be some outraged people, like the 1% somewhere out there that's always going to talk about that. Yeah.
Another big thing here that I actually attended one of the NFB's state conventions here recently, last month in March. Oh my gosh, almost 2 months ago.
Mm.
They were speaking about some really interesting and I guess encouraging legal actions that, they were trying to push through. And I'm sure, a lot of it might vary from state to state, but they were just talking about how the discrimination that some of us in the disabled community experience with rideshare companies, as far as like
Yes.
pulling off, not stopping when they see that someone has a service animal, and they're starting to pursue legal action and consequences for that. So now, it's going to be a misdemeanor. There's going to be legal consequences for that type of discrimination because the rideshare companies, they've clearly said in their policies that is not okay, it's not allowed, and they sign documentation saying, we're not going to discriminate, yet drivers still do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, we finally have some legislation in place to further, hopefully, incentivize these drivers to stop doing it, get themselves educated. I'm really excited to see that. I hate that it takes sometimes
Hmm.
legal
There,
action to make change happen, but I think the deaf community, they have done it, and that's a lot larger community, and they have a much louder voice, but they've already done it. I feel like they're a little bit ahead of the game in a lot of aspects.
in what
That,
way?
for example, closed captioning. With
Mm.
live TV, there's always closed captioning, but is there audio description?
Nope, not always,
Nope.
or very rarely.
And it's like technology, I think, is coming along with like AI type of audio descriptions.
Ooh, that's painful right now. It's painfully bad.
It is. It's in its infancy. But I feel like, closed caption is automated and it started out rough too. And it's come a long way. So I'm still hopeful. But, it just seems like those types of things have always been just one step behind. And I feel like the deaf community, they've won a lot of legal cases to get themselves recognized and get what they need to be contributing members of society in place and standardized. And I think the blind community we're just now jumping on that train and getting some good momentum.
Mhm. I think part of it is we all get stuck in our head a little bit of are they even going to listen to us? And we get
Mm.
very discouraged at the fact that we advocate and it feels like nothing actually happens.
Hmm.
And we just have to keep going and we just have to become louder and
Yeah.
they will listen. And the great thing I see is that I think while the momentum increases, more people, especially in our community, are stepping up
Yes.
and advocating more. They see that there's actually movement going forward. They're having some success, and that encourages more people to join them in advocating for accessibility.
I think the beautiful thing about it that I see, even in my own hometown, is you don't have to see advocacy on these big stages at this high level
Mm-hmm.
to see results and change. I feel like I'm seeing it in my own school, like just going to my daughter's elementary school principal and letting them know, hey, by the way, I would love to participate in your all's fundraisers, but not one of them is accessible to me.
Mm.
You provide a catalog that I cannot see, that there is no digital form of, and you don't have any kind of online payment or shipping or anything. And I'm like, these fundraisers exist,
Yeah.
but they're still doing, the box candy, or
Oh my goodness.
here's a catalog that is like a magazine with the tiniest, print. And I'm just like, come on, guys, the technology, it's there. Let's upgrade our systems. And sometimes it takes just getting just in your own neighborhood, making little changes, stepping up for yourself, advocating. Little grassroots changes like that count every bit as much as those who are making big splashes on those high
Mm-hmm.
platform levels. And so I am seeing it all the way up and down the scale. And it's been a beautiful thing this past year or two.
Absolutely. And here's to more of that. Let's see more of that.
Yes, yes, yes. So here's our nudge to anyone listening right now. If
Mm-hmm.
there is anything that you see needs to be changed, find that voice. Get your big boy, big girl
Yeah.
pants on and advocate and really model that too for the youth, for the ones coming up. Yeah.
And you don't have to be obnoxious about it and say, hey, this thing is not accessible. How dare you? It's really about having that conversation because a lot of people, they just don't know.
Yeah, they're not aware.
They never thought of it. And if you just actually have that conversation and talk about your experience in a way that's positive and include others who could benefit from making something accessible, many more people are going to be willing to listen to something like that, an angry, outraged speech about how they have to be accessible and they have to do this for them. No, I think it's definitely about just those connections that you can make with people who do that designing of products and developing and just business owners, I think. And a lot more people are more understanding when you come from that perspective.
I totally agree. And Carrie, I have to say, I think this is material for a future episode. How do we advocate for ourselves and our needs and our community that we're representing, and how do we do so with grace and
Mhm.
tact that is received in a positive light? How do we do that, and what is the etiquette for that? All right, don't forget to give this episode a like and follow and all that stuff if that is something you're wanting to dive into a little deeper in the future. All right, Carrie. Okay, so we've talked about what's been exciting us in culture and organizations and things like that, but let's get into the real nitty gritty, the real excitement. And that's going to be tech and app. Fire away, girl. This is your realm. I have my excitements, but this is your wheelhouse. Why don't you start us off?
Absolutely. So, everything that we've talked about, I am super fired up about, but technology is definitely where I am, and that's where I live and breathe technology, and that's where my content and everything that I mostly talk about is centered around. And again, this whole year has just been filled with announcements of new products like the Victor Reader Stream 3rd generation, the new Sense Player by Hims. There's the Optima Braille laptop that's coming out from Orbit Research. And there's just so many different products from both CES, from Site Tech Global in December last year, and from CSUN, which was a few months ago. And it's just so exciting to see all this tech. And then on the mainstream front, there's so much going on as well with Google I/O just passed, and then there's WWDC with everything Apple, and there's just been a lot of steps forward in the accessibility space. There's a new feature with the iPhone magnifier where you can just point at something.
Yes, I'm excited about that one.
It'll read it for you. There's new accessibility tagging for PDFs that's coming out based on AI.
Thank God.
And of course, there's a lot of this AI thing, right? There's ChatGPT, and then there's Bard. There's ones that generate pictures, but Be My Eyes is, I think, one of the most exciting new technology breakthroughs, I think, that
Yeah.
we in our community are really excited about. Right now it's in closed beta, but it's based on AI, and it's called the Be My Eyes Virtual Volunteer, which I know Jeff has spoke about on blind abilities. And, I think a lot of people have spoken about, I've definitely made content around that. And basically you just use your camera, take a picture, send it to the AI, and it can describe things, what that picture is, and you can ask it questions. There's also Lookout on the Android side, which is going to have very similar functionality. You can ask it questions about pictures. So there's so much, and I am just astounded and staggered by the possibilities of AI.
Yes, I am too. And so far, we've talked a lot about some of the bigger organizations and things, but there's been a lot of smaller growth going on at the startup level. For example, Menus for All, they have really come a long way in offering that service that's really making that whole travel and restaurant experience more accessible, because I don't know anyone in the blind community that hasn't had that terrible restaurant experience yet where you're like, hey, can you help me with the menu? And they're like, oh, it's right there. That whole situation, or just not knowing what to order. And so you're left ordering the same dish that you always get every single time you go to that location or go out, period. So there's lots of little startups like that, like Menus for All. And then I'm really excited about the new Estee Lauders. It's
It's the
called
AI makeup assistant.
Yes, the makeup assistant. Girl, I'm excited about that one. I'm wondering, are they going to come out with a hairstyle version of that? That's what I want to know too, because I think a lot of men could also benefit from okay, is my beard shaved right? Am I trimmed up okay? Is my hair looking like it should? Having some different variations of that come out. I'm really encouraged and excited about all of these new types of services and app and features coming out. That's really, really excited. And Navalins too. I heard they landed a good contract in New York, so they're going to be implementing this navigational assistance with the Navalins app all throughout New York and the subway systems and stuff. I'm really excited to see how that rolls out and impacts the community.
I really think that AI is going to open so many opportunities in our community for work, for just living our day-to-day lives. Perhaps this will also benefit those self-driving cars that, I will probably trade half my soul for or something.
Amen.
Just having more independence and having more autonomy over things, I think AI is really going to help with that. Right now, if you think about it, we have things like Ira and the regular Be My Eyes where we call a sighted volunteer. And we're always very dependent, it feels sometimes, on other people on vision. And if we could have technology bridge that gap, and we can ask technology to help us do things on our own time, then it's just so much better than always feeling like you're taking somebody else's time.
Yes, over and over and over, especially the people we live with, right? I feel like everyone kind of gets tired of asking for help, but when you're asking the same people for help over and over and over, yeah, it's draining on the relationship. And having AI take a little bit of that off and take that kind of load on, AI is not going to get annoyed with us. You know what I mean? It can chat with you 24 hours a day if you engage it. But here's the thing, Carrie. I feel like there is a serious point to those who are raising concerns about the safety and security of AI. And so I think, yes, there does need to be some wisdom there.
And there needs to be a lot more representation in the development process. And I feel that there is a push towards that. There was an article pushed out by Fable, Cindy and I also work at, and they talked about AI. They did a survey with a lot of different testers about AI and would we use it? Do we need more representation? What can we do to make AI more accessible and more inclusive? And it's really about co-designing.
Yes.
As always.
Yes.
It's really taking end users like us that use assistive technology, that have disabilities, and designing it with us together. Like, we'll do it together. And I think that's where it will succeed.
Yes. I heard a recent saying here that I absolutely agree with, and it's nothing for us without us. And it's very true. Don't design something that is for us without our input and feedback and including us along every aspect of the development, which leads us to what you and I do as a profession as well, accessibility testing. And this is a great segue to introduce you all to the next episode coming up here on C&C Insights on Blind Abilities. We're going to be talking about accessibility testing and the importance of it, not just as a profession, but like you said, Carrie, in including our feedback, our experience in the development of things and not just an afterthought.
Yes, absolutely. That is one of the most important things. We are not an afterthought. Value us more than when we have challenges. It's so important to design something from the very beginning with accessibility in mind.
Yes. We're starting to see a lot of that occur already. I think the movement and the momentum is there already, but I definitely want to encourage, like, if anyone sees an invitation to provide feedback, we're going to dive more deeply into this in the next episode, but I feel like there is a balancing line there as far as what should be compensated because it is truly valued expertise, whether it's assistive technology use or whatever the case may be, versus feedback that's just simple surveys, that's just trying to gather data. How do you sort of navigate, okay, this feedback that you're looking for is expertise that I value and should be compensated for, versus, oh, you are a grad student trying to publish your dissertation. Hey, yeah, you can have 20 minutes of my time free. And my feedback is gladly given. But balancing that, because I think that's another thing. I don't want companies to come to the disabled community and expect that we provide this service and feedback and be part of this development process for free and not be equally valued as a team member.
I completely 100% agree with that. It's exciting though, because I do see a lot of companies stepping up and providing both opportunities to give feedback with compensation. And I'm just here for it. And I'm waiting for more.
That's right, girl. I'm here for it too. Show me the money. No, I'm kidding. We're going to dive deeply into more of this type of conversation in the next episode, my friends. So be sure to tune in here on Blind Abilities for our next episode on C&C Insights. For now, my friends, we're going to sign off, say our adieus, and catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.
Be sure to follow Carrie on Carrie On Accessibility and Cindy on Seeing Blind on their YouTube channels.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the realities
of blind abilities.
And the realities
of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.